On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, are you unclean in the biblical sense? Do you now have sick tribal veins?
Come on down and we'll help you get those removed. Pudding now accepted as currency.
Don't forget to stop by this weekend for our artisanal holy oil workshop. Remember, no Tupperware, glass bottles only.
Let's do this. Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And we're on season 11, episode 2, Form and Void.
The void. The sweet, sweet void.
Yeah.
I did actually, I made a box, I made the void for this event thing that I had. So in case people just wanted to put their face into it and scream. So I got a black box and I cut out the top and then I lined the sides of it with cork wrapped in fabric so it absorbs sound. So, and then I printed out a label that says the void. So now I just have this thing that you can stick your head into and scream.
Nice.
Which I think is appropriate. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to scream into the void.
It happens.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, so what are we up to leading into this week?
I was waiting to see what who was transitioning where.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll pick one.
I'll take it.
Go for it.
Well, the summer solstice just happened, which means we are one day closer to Halloween. So that's good. And in honor of that, or just because they were offering it and I didn't have anything else to do, I did go to a broom making class. And it was taught by a woman who'd she's been done all the traditional Appalachian broom making classes, and she teaches at UTSA. And it was a lot of fun. It involves using your feet with you get the stick and you wrap string around it, nylon cord, and then you you can hold it with whatever, but most people do it with their feet because it's a hillbilly thing, I guess. And then you use that to create tension on your cord as you're wrapping it around the broom straw. So
did you have to take your shoes off?
Yeah, so I had to take my shoes off. And then because I'm me, I accidentally let go of the string and the stick at the same time, and then the stick flew across the room. And everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. And then somehow I messed up the cording in some way that she was like, I've never seen anybody do something this wrong. But then it was cute. Yeah. And so I made a broom. That was pretty, it felt like an accomplishment, to take some straw and turn it into an actual, I mean, you couldn't actually clean with it.
It's more of a decorative broom.
Symbolic broom. Yeah. I put a hook on it so you can hang on the wall. Nice. So that's what I did. What have you been up to?
I feel like a lot and nothing. I don't know. There's everything from Branson and dog drama to migraines and cowboy bars. I don't know. I feel like it's been a lifetime. So we're just gonna skate on by. It's summer.
It is. And speaking of summer, right when we're about to release, so the day this comes out, Jensen Ackles' new show Countdown will come out. So he's been doing a lot of press, and he still looks ridiculously handsome. Go watch the Jimmy Fallon interview. He was really funny in it, but his hair is fucking perfect. It looks like somebody goes to his beard with a ruler and goes your scruff is going to be this exact size. It's just perfect. He looks like a perfect man. And maybe he's not real. Is Jensen Ackles a robot? I'm going to start that rumor. Jensen Ackles is a robot. But he's talked a lot about the reunion between him and Padalecki and Cass
Misha.
Misha, thank you. And that was really great. And of course, they asked if a reboot was going to happen, and of course, they left the door open still. So,
but he talked really positively about the fandom. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he talked about the fandom and the cons, and Jimmy Fallon seemed to be like, "What? What is a con? I do not understand what that thing is." But yeah, Ackles was just talking about how great the fandom is, and which is always, and he's talking about us. So you're welcome, sir.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, that's us.
Yeah, he literally was about to drop our name. I know it.
Totally.
He was like, "Yeah, there's this podcast called Devil's Trap Podcast," and Oh, by the way, no matter how like atrocious this introduction was, it was great. You should go onto all of your things, like your Spotify's and your YouTubes, and give us like all the stars and ratings, because some of y'all have been slacking, and some of you were mean, and so we only with the nice people. Like go out and like it takes you like a second, and
yes, please,
it'll make us happy. So please do that. All right. So now that I have given you instructions and scolded you, so this
they liked it.
They like it. Everyone likes being scolded a little bit. So form and void. Mm-hmm. This, according to the wiki, is a reference to Genesis 1:2. So the very, very beginning of the Bible, the King James Bible. And that on the state of nature before creation says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." Which really does sound quite like a metal lyric.
It really does.
Darkness was upon the face of the deep. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like the darkness is so metal. So we have season 11, episode 2. This first aired October 14th, 2015. It was directed by Phil Sgriccia, who did the season ender, 1023 Brothers Keeper. It was written by Andrew Dabb, who ended last season on the 22nd episode on The Prisoner, which was a bummer. So let's talk about this one and whether or not this one is as much of a bummer as that was. Okay, so we're going to start with this pan down a street, and there's a sign for the Superior Harvest Festival, and I have been rewatching Parks and Recreation, so it's like that's not this that like the Harvest Festival is what Pawnee does. Like, is Little Sebastian coming to your Harvest Festival? So
no. Little Sebastian was not at this Harvest
Festival. Sebastian was not at this festival. Instead, there was a disheveled man, Old One Shoe, as he shall become known. I'm glad that is both what we both decided his name was for this episode. So Mr. One Shoe is walking down the street.
He is. And we see him shuffling down the street, but we also see somebody in a hardware store gathering supplies.
Or maybe they're just trying to have some bondage fun.
Or that. And we start noticing as our One Shoe dude is shuffling down the street that there's a lot of bodies on the street.
Just bodies everywhere. Bodies in cars, just like, and they're all veiny too, right? They all have the 6 tribal disease.
They do. And then we hear a loudspeaker of a sermon, and it is a phone inside of a bucket that is chained to a chair. And this is pretty smart. I think it's pretty cool.
Think it's a Western and not
it's a Western.
I think that's like when they zoom into it. I think he was playing an old Western, but I did not look to see what Sam had put on there. And so we find out that this is Sam's Wile E. Coyote plot to capture the veiny people
and capture the one-shoed man specifically.
The capture One Shoe, and he wants to know if he can talk or if he's gone too far. And then he takes his electrocution stick, which I approve of. Taser on a stick, whatever we want to call this. I like this that keeps you far away. Like, I may or may not have a stunning like thing that is in my personage at sometimes. But the thing about those is you gotta get close. And if I can put you on a stick and just be like, bleh, like, it's kind of like a cattle prod, but
I called it a homemade cattle prod.
Yeah,
that's what I called it. And that's like, yeah, you're right. That's the challenge with the stun gun. That's why tasers are different, because they shoot out the little pew things.
That's right. Yeah.
But the stun gun's different, because you have to be up on a motherfucker to use that, and sometimes you just don't want to be close to the person you have to stun.
Yeah.
But So we cut immediately from that scene to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where Dean and Jenna and baby Amara have arrived at Grandma's house, where Jenna feels safe. And Dean's like, cool, leaving you here. Bye.
Yeah, and Jenna's like childhood just sounds like idyllic, and it's just this whole like area, like she is as sweet as apple pie is what this all sounds like. It's just, but although she had like a little raciness, right? But still everything here is like clear house.
Yes. And Grandma is unconcerned about whatever the fuck's going on in Superior, whatever storm is what the news is saying, because she's got a generator and canned green beans that'll last them till Judgment Day.
Grandma. You should always have your survival goods prepped. I am very proud of you, Grandma. Good job.
But she tells Jenna that Jenna looks like poop on parade.
Title of my next album. And but Grandma is just going to take the little angel and put her down in a crib, and she's just super nice.
She's very nice, and frickin' Jenna's going to get a nap. But apparently we learned that baby Amara has telekinesis in this scene.
Or she's a cat. He's just knocking shit off. Just like, fuck this thing. Fuck this thing. I don't want this on the shelf. So then we go back to first Sam is trying to cure his varicose veins with ibuprofen.
Yeah, he's got a headache, apparently. Apparently those veins, the veins cause headaches.
Well, I mean, they do seem like they're tensing, right? I mean, you've got to feel pretty strange there.
Yeah, I guess. And so he's back at the hospital, is what it looks like. And he's got one shoe guy handcuffed, this guy's awake now, and Sam asks his name and he won't answer. He's like, bite me. And the guy, he's like, Sam's trying to like gather info. He's like, wants to know how long this guy's been infected. And this guy just does not want to play. He just talks shit about how they can smell their own. And he's not talking until he gets something that he wants. But what does he want, Liz?
Pudding! Yeah, so as in all things supernatural, all things can be traded and bartered with in pudding. And I think, when the next time our dollar fails, I will take this up as our new currency. And there are different flavors. There's so many ways we can go with this. I am on team pudding currency. All right.
Pudding currency.
All right. So, but basically he's just like, I don't believe, like, and he's figured some shit out like very fast. One Shoe Man has learned a lot. Because
for the guy that was shuffling down the street with one shoe.
For one shoe, and was infected this morning, right? So he has learned that some people go really fast, some people really go slow, but everyone goes psycho! And then
they go boom.
Yeah, but then a bass starts thumping, because it's like, okay. So, and then they go boom, but Sam is just convinced that he was going to fix it.
Yeah, but I think this guy just can't handle having hope is part of the problem. So he doesn't believe it. And so he suggests that Sam should kill him and then kill himself. That's the best thing they could do. Yeah. That's bleak. So
yeah, it's a very, very upsetting conversation with One Shoe. So then we cut from that to baby just hauling ass down a highway.
Yeah. And Dean is trying to call Castiel, but the angels that have Castiel strung up are smash his phone.
Yeah, and he can't pick up because he's being tortured by those Wall Street rejects. And then, so we learn that their names are Ephron and Jonah. And Jonah slaps Cass, and it is the weakest fucking slap I have ever seen. Like, that baby Amara could slap harder than that was. It was just like, eh! And Cass is like, oh!
It's hilarious. He's like, I'm cursed. Well, back in Des Moines or Cedar Rapids, sorry, wrong Iowa town. Cedar Rapids at Jenna's grandma's, she hears a noise, and her and her grandma both meet up in the hall because they both hear it, and they think it might be a raccoon. Guess what? It's not a fucking raccoon. Apparently, baby Amara has discovered that she can telekinetically throw letter blocks into the wall to send a message. And says, feed me on the wall. Yeah.
Feed me. What would you do?
I'd be close to grandma. She's doing the sign of the cross and calling the priest. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then so grandma is immediately, that's her answer, and she's like, we're calling father, and Jenna is like, no, and then we get a fun little, who are we gonna call?
Ghostbusters
is how Dean answers the phone.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he busts a big old U-turn in the rain to turn back to go to the house and check on Jenna and Grandma and the baby. While he's on his way, he does call Sam, and they make exorcist comments like you do. And then Sam's really kind of thinks that he's going to be fine. He just insists he's going to be fine as he's continuing to research some hoodoo.
Yeah, but no, okay, first off, like, one, we learned that Dean has called it a crazy infected fart, which I do appreciate as a description of what happened. And two, Sam, this is also going to tell that Sam is, besides just being the general, I lie about how bad I'm doing, is doing poorly, because why the fuck is Sam looking up a definition of hoodoo? Samuel Winchester knows what the fuck hoodoo is. Like, he's known what hoodoo was since he was 5 years old. So what is happening here? So that was one thing. It was like, okay, this is like maybe Sam just going downhill. Like he don't even know.
I just think it was like a bad, like a faux pas on somebody else's part putting that screen up. Anyways, I didn't read that part.
You're blaming the set people. All right. So,
sorry.
All right. So
I mean, yeah,
I'm just going to be offended by people going to terrible sites. So I also have a gnat infestation,
oh, no.
So Diana gets to watch me. Like, it look like I am grabbing ghosts because there's like a gnat that keeps flying around my face that I'm trying to catch.
You do look slightly insane.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty great. At least I turned off the AI tracking, so it's not
gosh,
just
where the camera follows you around every time you move. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we've got Sam telling Dean to help Jenna and just to call him if he needs anything.
Right. And Castiel is begging Ephraim and Jonah for mercy. And
who is literally stabbing him with an angel blade, but he's not dying because they're like not missing his heart. It's like weird. Apparently now, like in canon, you've got to like get him in the heart.
Yeah, it's real weird. And they balk when they're wanting info on Metatron, and they balk when Cass calls them brothers because they insist that he chooses the Winchesters over heaven, so he's not their brother.
Fair.
And so they keep torturing him. As Sam hears singing in the hospital corridors.
And it's ethereal, and it is Oh Death, which is what we heard the first time that we met Death. And it's just so good. Like, just the tone of it is just amazing.
It's beautiful. And he sees a woman crouched by some of the bodies in the hall, and she greets him and says that she knows Winchesters and they've been good for business. And it's basically said that she is a reaper. And Sam tries to apologize about Death and
sorry, I killed Death. Oops.
And she's like, yeah, whatever. I've got work to do and souls to collect. Here's the message for you. It's over. You and Dean, you're dying and coming back shit. Dunzo. We're not playing that anymore. The old Death was amused by you, but no, next time, no heaven, no hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're being tossed into the empty. The empty. And nothing comes back from that.
Yeah. And then, so she is automatically throwing down some major shit. Mm-hmm. And also, I just think it's hilarious that Death thought them coming back to life was funny.
I know! I was like, oh, that's cute. Of course he did. We liked him.
Because we liked him.
He just wanted to eat nachos and see what happened.
Yeah, he was our friend until fucking Dean, killed him with the scythe. Fuck you, Dean. Yeah. So if I was, as we learned, Billie, I would also be pissed that you killed my boss / Death. Friend, whatever. Then she hits him even more.
Mm-hmm. She can feel that he's dying and that he's unclean in the biblical sense.
Which we're going to get back to later, but that phrase is a very heavy phrase and it just sounds like he has gonorrhea. But
it sounds so dirty.
It sounds like And so we'll come back to this. I'm just going to put a pin in that because I know I could rant about it for a while. So, but she's going to see him soon, and that's where she introduces herself as Billie. So we have now met Billie.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then we go back to Torture Town.
Yeah, because Cass is like, I don't know where Meta is. He fucked me over too. And they don't believe him.
Well, I was just like, are you stupid? And then kind of like, oh shit. Like,
are you stupid or lying? And he's kind of dumb. And it's kind of stupid. And they're just really excited about cutting something off. But then we hear the metal door crunches and Hannah comes through the door and tells Ephraim, this is not how we do things. And they're going to have like a little, like, she kicks them out.
Yeah, but I mean, she chides him for torturing, and she's just like thanks him, but then she's like, "Look, something horrible has happened." Yeah. But then we cut from there back to the hospital, where Sam is like, "Oh, my sick tribal brand. Maybe I should have gone with something more traditional." And then, like, he all of a sudden on the hospital sign, he's like, "I'm gonna read this," and he like reads through all the options of the places that he'd go in the hospital, and he's like, "A chapel."
That's somewhere I haven't gone. Maybe I should go check it out. So he goes to the chapel and he starts, for lack of a better word, praying because he's just talking.
That's what he's doing. He is praying.
Yeah.
In the same Winchester, Dean Winchester way.
It is. It's a narrative prayer. And talking about how there's been through a lot of bad, but this is different and it's his fault that he doesn't know how to fix. But Dean deserves better and good people are going to suffer because of me. So I need your help. And I need to know that there's hope and I need a sign.
So he's asking for a lot. I mean, and he is blaming himself like he should. Because this is literally his fault. It really is. Literally is your fault, Sam. Like, you just went, I'm going to release this in order to get this mark off of Dean. Yeah. Check. My name is Sam Winchester. I did this. Please, like, help me because I need something. And also, I need a sign. Please, just, which is like, no matter like how spiritual you are, like, what the fuck do you... You're asking for a lot, right? So he like, then, oh shit, nothing's happening. So he walks out.
But then in the hallway, he starts
I just call like corpse hall. Cause there's just like corpses everywhere. Can you just like can you move them, Sam? Like, why are you just walking past them?
Like, what do you do? How long do they stink? Do you want to touch them? Like, I don't know. There's a lot to
It just seems kind of disrespectful just to be leaving like all these dead bodies.
That's a lot to move.
I know. But I can't stand clutter.
I'm either. This is very messy. Can we organize this?
Very messy. Can we please put our corpses in order, Mr. Winchester? So, but then like maybe he does get a sign because something happens to Sam.
Yeah, because he starts having flashbacks to being tortured in hell.
Like, oh shit! I thought I got over that.
That's unfortunate.
Which clearly, though, like, if you had been tortured in hell, like, no matter how much, like, EMDR shit you did, or, like, you would still, like, probably have flashbacks to that. I just don't think that's something you get over.
I don't know if there's I
think you would be like an old man and be like, oh shit, remember when I was tortured in hell?
That'd be a tough one.
Like, I remember shit that happened. Like, I remember when that kid, like, threw my purse off the bus when I was in 3rd grade. And that shit comes up, like, every couple of years. And that was just my purse. Like, that wasn't being tortured in hell. So, anyhow, Sam's PTSD with hell or something is happening.
Correct. But Dean has made it to Iowa, back to Grandma's house.
No, the other thing I want to bitch about this too is just like, then he's just like, what does that mean? And like, you asked for a sign, motherfucker. Like, signs don't come out in like clear writing. It's like a burning bush or like, you know, something in a tortilla. They're not instructions.
Piece of toast, perhaps.
Perhaps some toast. You know, that is traditionally how signs appear. They don't like actually have like open door, statues. Push, pull.
Crying statues. Yeah, it's not usually like a letter.
Done ranting at Sam Winchester for that bit for now. All right, so back at Grandma's.
Grandma's called the priest and has and they have an exorcist at the house. And so guess who our exorcist is? Sipping some tea.
Father Crowley.
Father Crowley.
I go to his mass.
And he refers to Dean because they do know each other as he says he was a scrumptious young altar boy.
Yeah, that was gross, Crowley.
I didn't like it.
There's some jokes that Crowley makes this. I'm like, well, it's a little much, sir. A little much.
What?
So,
you say that?
I don't know. We'll see. Well, that one was gross. All right. So back to torture room. And so this is like Hannah's like, remember when we were in the shower and I wanted to do that thing? Let's talk about bondage. And
let's unhandcuff you kind of, but not fully. Because I'm worried about you. But also, I can't heal this curse that Rowena put on you. That's not cool.
So Cass wants to stay in his handcuffs because he thinks it's safer. So we're doing a lot of back and forth. We go to Grandma's, and Crowley and Dean are talking about his bro and Cass. And then Crowley's like, I'm working on a case. Then we go back to the torture room.
Yeah. And Hannah's like, by the way, what do you know about what happened in Superior? There were alarms going off in heaven that had never have gone off before, and we don't even know what they mean.
They're so old.
Castiel's like, yeah, it's for the darkness. And we see Jenna go to visit the baby at that point.
Yeah, so now we're getting kind of his cool voiceover.
Yes, because Hannah's saying, well, the darkness is a story. And Cass is like, no, it's real. It's been locked away since before the dawn of creation. And now it's free. And Hannah's like, God help us. And Cass, we wouldn't count on it.
Dun dun!
And Jenna kisses the baby, trying to soothe baby Amara. And Hannah asks where the darkness is. And
she wants to know where Sam and Dean are. And then all of a sudden, Cass is like, wait a minute. Hannah, are you fooling me?
But we've got Crowley telling Dean that he's got, that he's been, got to take, got these calls in the past to check on these rogue demonic possessions. So that's why he does this. That's why he has his Father Crowley suit.
He's got a system, right? So someone gets possessed, right? And someone calls their priest, and they're like, hey, I've got a possession. So then like Crowley or somebody else will be like, oh, is this a real, which I don't know, like pretty cool if they can figure it out fast. Like, is this someone who like needs to go to the mental hospital, or is this like an actual demon? And then if it's an actual demon, then Father Crowley shows up, which I mean, that says that his demons, I think, are controlling themselves, right? I mean, because he's not that busy doing this. So they're not possessing a lot of people. So does that make them bad demons or good demons?
That's a
like, are they slacking? Like, should they be possessing more people?
He also made it sound like that the demon was not doing their job, like if they were possessing a person without permission.
Oh, so maybe sometimes he was like, oh, that's fine. Y'all just keep doing what you do, right? Okay.
That's the impression I got.
It's a rogue demon. That's okay.
Yeah. But Dean asks, if there's a demon in there, talking about in the baby? And he says, not even a little bit.
It's a little creepy.
Ooh. And we get noises.
Yeah, there's no thud.
Hannah is like, anyways, Castiel has figured out that Hannah is working with Ephraim and Jonah at this point. And this is a lie. And so this is all orchestrated to try to get information to manipulate Castiel. Even her bursting in.
Yeah. And so when Ephraim comes out of the shadows, right, he was like, it doesn't matter. We took a vote. Yeah. For some reason, this episode, and I didn't love this, gets to this weird EDM soundtrack that starts happening. And this is where, like, it starts, right? This music starts picking up. And Cass is just like, okay, I'm not going to give you Sam and Dean. And they're like, we've got the angel helmet.
Yeah, so they're going to hack his brain. Gross. And back in Grandma's, Crowley is like, whatever's in that house, I can taste the power radiating. Ooh, that's concerning. And we see Jenna approach Grandma in the kitchen because Grandma's making more tea for everybody, because of course she is. And Crowley's just telling Dean outside how this power is old and dark as Jenna grabs a knife from the butcher block. And then we hear Grandma scream.
Well, she says she always wanted to try this, which does make me wonder a little bit of, okay, so did she just have a dark side that she never explored? Because when you lose your soul, as we learned, because remember we've had lots of people without souls, and not everybody with the soul stabs their grandma a bunch. So, was just this a dark side of her that just was there?
She doesn't stab her a bunch. She just slits her throat.
Yeah, slits her throat. Sorry. But, I mean...
Anyways. I'm like, does that distinction matter? I don't know. But yeah, I know. I think it's an interesting, because my impression when she first says that, I've always wanted to try this, I was like, oh shit, is she possessed by something? Because I don't fucking know what the story is yet. We'll
have hindsight on that one. So
it's a weird one.
Yeah. So let's see. Grandma's throat slit. Okay, and so we get down to Cass's brains getting poked.
Yes, as Crowley has decreed. Hello, plot twist. So, he's getting his head poked. Cass is getting his head poked in that crazy brain hack halo thing, and Jonah knows what to do because he watched Naomi do this once.
Yep. That so totally, he's got this.
And obviously, Castiel's yelling out in pain. Hannah kind of wants to stop it, because she gets upset that this is causing pain, and they gets in a fight with Ephraim. And Cass is able to use his brain to push out the brain pins, which is
because crazy. Ephraim starts losing his shit on Hannah. And then starts kicking her in the ribs. What we don't I don't even know why. He just goes crazy. Yeah, and that's what makes Cass goes and he's like, my brain will get all this stuff out of my head.
And he pushes it out, and he breaks free from the chair, and he kills Jonah, and Ephraim kills Hannah, and I know. And then Cass attacks Ephraim and kills him too. Yeah. Very sad. And then Cass looks around, and he's really sad because he didn't want to kill anybody, but because they attacked Hannah, he broke free, and then he had to kill, and then everybody's dead.
But no angel wings.
Mm-mm. That's weird.
Why are there fucking angel wings? Why sometimes there are angel wings and sometimes there aren't angel wings? I just want to know. And I'm sure there is a canon reason that I just don't understand, and some nerd will tell me. But anyway, so we've got the dead angels, and then the EDM starts again. So Unsense is starting, and we cut to Sam and his veiny problem.
Yes, and he is getting dizzy and dropping things, and he's having flashbacks to Billie's comment Billie.
Yes.
Billie's comment, I wrote something weird. I knew about his cleanliness. So he Googles it about biblical purification.
Yeah, so he goes to Web 7 and he looks up Bible purification. And first off, he spells that remarkably well, all things considered, right? He can barely see straight. I literally misspelled Bible purification every fucking time. I wrote it in this Google Doc and had to have Google tell me, you dumbass, that's not how you spell purification. But I didn't care because the computer would do it. So somehow he spells that well. And he gets the following search results. He gets purification of the soul from Talking Bible newsletter. There's a Gospel of Mark Bible search. That's a preacher sermon. There is something about Bible purification verses. Then he reads a paragraph about Leviticus and the rites of purification. Then he reads Mark 9:4-9, and there's a highlighted sentence that says, everyone will be purified by fire as a sacrifice is purified by salt. Then he sees a highlight for holy oil, which is really just the Google ad I bought for artisanal oil. So he digs through his bag and he gets his jug of oil out. And I'm like, do you have to keep it in that jug? Because that's huge and a little fragile.
It seems very inefficient to swallow.
Some big ass jug. You could just put some whole in a sand, maybe not you just a Tupperware,
a glass jar,
little glass jar.
Tupperware.
And then he gets some gauze, right? And it looks like he's roasting a marshmallow.
It does.
And he lights it on fire, and then he just sets his fucking neck on fire. He just takes it, he just
straight to self-immolation.
And he cured himself. So this is my question for you. Did Sam need to set himself on fire? So this is kind of lore, search lore. basically went through, I was like, let's see in what our interwebs of today would say. Because like time travel is stupid and I can't go back to whatever Web 7 was.
Sure.
And so if I searched and spelled correctly Bible purification, you would first get an ad for christianbook.com, which is the largest Christian retailer, and you can choose from their great selection of Bibles for study, worship, or just plain reading. It does offer me an assist, which is DuckDuckGo's AI chat tool, which told me that purification in the Bible refers to rituals and practices aimed at restoring holiness and cleanliness, often involving sacrifices and moral conduct. It is a significant theme, particularly in the Old Testament, where laws and rituals were established for various situations, such as after childbirth or dealing with certain illnesses. And that was from Bible Hub, right? The third result on there goes like to gotquestions.org. What does the Bible say about purification? In there, they talk about Jesus in mind, heart, and spirit, and John like walking in the light. Nothing about setting yourself on fire. No. I see nothing in there. The fourth one, there was 21 Bible verses about purification. Not a single goddamn one said set yourself on fire. Okay. So then I was like, what I would have done if I was Sam is I would have first searched, what does unclean in the biblical sense mean? Because that's what I want to know, right? Because I would be like, is this uncurable syphilis? Like, what the fuck is this?
Do I need a bath or is there something else?
Right. And so, again, according to DuckDuckGo's AI chatbot, they said that refers to a state of ritual impurity that can result from various conditions such as skin diseases, bodily discharges, or contact with dead bodies. This status required individuals to undergo purification processes before they could participate in religious activities or approach God. That time, yes, AI is not wrong there, right? There's a lot, they're really into body discharges and like where your discharge goes and like how if it's like on a sheet, then that sheet is unclean and and like, animals and stuff like that. But and also the dead bodies thing. But a lot of this, I view a lot of those things about general practices to help you from not, getting sick from touching dead bodies.
Wash your hands.
What a lot of that was, right? So,
yeah.
So going through some other things, there was like some purification rituals. And so like you can have an immersion in water known as a mikveh, that like symbolized washing away impurities, but still no fire. And so I tried searching purifying biblical unclean person. And that said something about using ashes from a burnt purification mixed with fresh water and then using that for cleansing. So not set yourself on fire, set something else on fire. And then you use that to like help purify yourself. Again, not yourself.
Not the thing, not the person.
Not the thing, not yourself. I did try also just looking up purify fire biblical, and they just told me that fire was a symbol of purification representing God's transformative power. It's a symbol, Sam.
Not
a
literal.
Symbol.
Not literal.
And finally, because he did also come across holy oil. So if he was to search for holy oil, today, he would go to holyappetite.com, which would tell you how to make your own anointing oil at home. So if you wanted to maybe make your own artisanal oil and set up an Etsy shop, you could do that. Oh. They tell you that you only need, 4 of your ingredients that will be essential oils. And they want to make sure that you do your business with a reputable company and you can click their links and that'll take you to them. They do receive some commission if you follow that, but that doesn't cost you anything. So you should just click their links anyways. And they got their recipe from Exodus. And so that includes myrrh, 24 drops of that, 12 drops of cinnamon essential oil. You can substitute the oil for actual cinnamon sticks that will be left in the oil mixture. I don't think you can, but they say you can. And so number 3 is a fragrant cane or calamus oil. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but you need 12 drops of that. And that's not easy to find, but they say you can substitute frankincense oil, which is damn expensive. Lemongrass, also expensive. Clove essential oil. I guess you can get that from they use clove because they're cheap. Okay. Number 4, they also need a cassia essential oil, and that's not to be confused with cinnamon oil. I don't know why you would. And number 5, you need an olive oil for your carrier oil. You should use organic cold press extra virgin, and I don't think you should, but they tell you to do that. Anyhow, so do's for your DIY holy anointing oil. You want to make sure that you store it in a cool, dark place. Keep it in a glass container with the top of your choice, but nothing plastic. Your holy
no Tupperware.
No Tupperware. I mean, things with like that's you would get some forever plastics mixed into there, and then you. So, your holy anointing oil needs to be treated as sacred, special, and only used for healing, consecration, and anointing. So, if you're like making your tacos, or that one time that my roommate stole my cooking oil for something else, do not use your holy anointing oil. Other don'ts they have, so don't use it for anything but healing and anointing. Do not use it to cook with, but consecrate it. Do not use a bottle or container that has been used before. Get a brand new container for your holy anointing oil and don't refrigerate it.
Huh.
Yeah. So still, my conclusions, Sam doesn't need to be carrying around that big ass jug.
Agreed.
And he did not need to set himself on fire.
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
It was a choice he made. And I mean, we do see that he does learn from it quickly, but anyhow. All right. So we go from Sam burning himself to Grandma's.
Yes. And Dean is calling out to try to find Jenna. And Crowley's like, we don't know what evil we're gonna find, so maybe not. But Dean finds a crying baby, Amara. And he is having a flashback to the darkness when he sees the mark of Cain on Amara's chest. And
who branded a baby?
I know, it's weird. And then it reminds him of the darkness telling him about them being bound. And the baby stops crying because it likes Dean.
Oh.
So Crowley calls him maternal. I think that's a
word
that's frequently used for Dean Winchester.
He's good with kids. He's fine.
So we have...
Except for that time he hit Ben. Anyhow, okay, so we go back to Sam in the hospital.
And we've got Sugar Shack by Jimmy Gilmer and the Fireballs playing loudly. And multiple infected persons with the black veins walking into the hospital. And they are looking for the source of this noise. And they find a boombox in the chapel where Sam is waiting for them, and he drops a lit matchbook into a ring of holy oil that traps the three, and they struggle, but their veins burn, and they all collapse, and they're cured because they didn't have to be set on fucking fire. They just had to be next to the fire.
They were just near the fire.
And it worked.
Yeah. So, so now one of them thanks Sam, and then let's go save the rest of them.
Yeah.
No, they're all dead, Sam. I saw the corpse parade outside. Like,
right. Did you not notice the clutter in the hallway that you had to step over to get here?
And in the streets. I mean, there's
everywhere.
Get your corpses in order.
Such a mess. Your emergency services have quite a job ahead of them. This is very upsetting.
Yeah, that next town over is like, God damn it.
So Dean and Crowley approach a closed door, and they hear glass breaking in there because Jenna is standing at her grandma's dresser, systematically smashing angel figurines.
She's made herself a rage room.
Yes. And Dean asks why she would have cut grandma's throat. And that's when Crowley shares that she doesn't have a soul. And Jenna shares that she doesn't have a soul because Amara is a hungry, growing girl.
Amara ate it. Nom, nom, nom.
She eats souls? This is terrifying. And we get a little peek at Amara aging very quickly in her
She is having a growth spurt.
Oh my gosh. And Dean wants to try to reason with Jenna to fix this, but Jenna doesn't want to be fixed. And Amara is now big enough to climb out of her crib on her own, apparently.
And find clothes.
Yeah. So Jenna wants to fight and kill Dean while Crowley watches, because of course that's what happens now. And right when things are getting crazy with the fight, Crowley slams Jenna into the ceiling and then drops her body to the floor, saving Dean, but killing Jenna.
Yep, she did.
Sad face.
Yeah.
That was a bummer. So Crowley's like, I think we should go see the child that eats souls. And Dean's like, by the way, I think that Amara is the darkness. So, yeah, that's a whole thing. And Crowley's like, that's interesting. What, you think you're going to kill her? I don't know. Even if you could, I saw the way you looked at her. There's no way. No way. And, anyway, so Dean's like, what are we talking about? Like this, talking about killing a baby. What the fuck? And Crowley flings Dean because he wants the baby and he's not a Winchester sidekick.
Yeah, so Dean lunges at Crowley. Crowley flings him into the closet, and he offers to let Dean walk out the door, and then Dean nails him by the hand with an angel blade. And then he takes out the demon blade and it looks like he's going to stab Crowley, but he does it instead. He just it's really determined and he walks down the hall and that weird fucking EDM is back on and Amara is gone.
And the crib's empty. And then guess who else is gone? Crowley. Crowley has made an appearance as well.
So we go from there to the bunker.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, a little flashback to a couple up, the end of the previous season, the pile of books that the Steins were getting ready to burn is still in a big old pile in the middle of the room there.
Because nobody came and cleaned it up.
Nobody's cleaned that up yet. Just sat there. And they discussed briefly that they need a maid.
And then Dean gets really gross about that.
He does. But they're discussing that Sam thought the darkness was a woman, not a child. And Dean's like, what if it was all a vision and none of it was real? But no matter what, it's all fucking weird. And they hear a noise.
And they pull out their guns.
Who could it be?
But it's Cass, and he needs help.
Yeah, he does not look good.
No, he does not look good, because he's been tortured a bunch.
It's bad. Poor Cass. But we're not done. We have one more scene where a barefoot little girl, I don't know, under 10. I'm bad at ages of children. Anyways.
No, I think I don't know. I was like 8, 6.
Yeah, I think under 10. Somewhere 6? In that 6 to 10 range. Walks down the street. And a van pulls up. And this little girl is unattended. And no one can tell her you don't talk to the people in the van. But the door opens. Crowley gets out. Door opens. There's 4 people bound inside. And he offers some candy to the little girl.
And she smiles really creepily. And she's really happy to go eat that family.
Eek.
Eek. And that's how we end.
It is. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It's a weird one. I don't know how I feel about this. So before I talk about that, I'll give some casting notes.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
So first off, Jesus, I can't write my notes. Here we go. Amara is the young girl version is played by. Now I have a gnat. Did you send that through the freaking camera?
Sorry.
It's so weird. Is played by Gracelyn Chenye. And she's been in episodes of Travelers. She was Amy in The Man in the High Castle for like a couple dozen episodes. She was young Kate in Batwoman for a couple handfuls of episodes. And then Emily in What Wind Calls the Heart series for like 100 episodes. Jenna's grandma was played by Christine Willies. She's had a pretty long career. She had episodes of 21 Jump Street, Smallville, Hellcats, X-Files, Good Doctor, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Superman and Lois, and Goosebumps. She was Dolores on Dead Like Me for a couple dozen episodes. She was Sister Violet in the Wicker Man film, a reception nurse in Sucker Punch, receptionist in Horns, and was in a speaker in 50 Shades of Grey.
Kinky.
Yeah. Billie was played by Lisa Barry. Yay. She's been in episodes of Republic of Doyle, Nikita, and Star Trek Discovery. Also as EMT in EMT in Saw 5. Candace in the 2017 Power Rangers movie. Cleophas in Shadowhunters series a handful of times. And Natasha in the series Working Moms, or the show Working Moms. So. Then our Rabid Man, aka One Shoe, played by Trevor Roberts, and he's been in episodes of Dead Like Me, 4400, Travelers, Altered Carbon, Once Upon a Time a few times, and then Charmed. He was also Dookie in the movie Scary Movie.
Cool. Yeah. So
it's cool to meet Billie.
Yeah, to have Lisa Barry. We finally get Lisa Barry in here. So I think that's almost all of the women. There's still like one or two more like ladies, but you almost met all the main ladies of Supernatural now.
Yay!
Hooray! Yeah. So this is our second episode of season 11, and the darkness is still here. But she's a baby. Now she's a baby. Did you know that was the baby?
I mean, I thought it might. Once I saw the mark, I'm like, fuck. I knew it was tied to the darkness, whatever it was. I didn't know it was the darkness, but now I do.
Yeah, babies are evil.
And so, is that what she grows up to be?
I guess she'll have to find out.
I figured.
The thing is, as we get further into this, I mean, from a biblical standpoint, defining an entity like the darkness, which is the void, like you can't really be a baby. Like the void can't be a baby. Or a woman. Weird. Like it's a void.
It can't personify it.
I don't know. The darkness is just the darkness. But I mean, the darkness isn't evil. And so I think we'll also debate that, as we're going through here too. So it does set up this interesting concept as we start exploring.
Eating souls is not a great starting
point.
What
is the darkness? Is the darkness evil? Is it bad to eat souls? Do they taste like taquitos? What does a soul taste like? Does some souls taste bad? Because I think there's some still souls that I may not want to taste.
That's fair.
Sure. So we've got, but at least Sam's not veiny. So,
he's not.
I mean, not any more than usual.
Gross.
I mean, he's still pretty veiny, but
Ew.
Padalecki works out a lot. What? Like, you have a lot of muscle. They have veins. What?
No, I just like the way he kept like turning his head and flexing the black veins
on
his neck.
Like, oh,
really
like
gross. I didn't like that. He was like flexing, and you see him like they'd like move. I don't know. It was distressing.
So give me more steroids.
Pulsating veins on the side of his neck.
Yeah, this is like the ad for don't do steroids. Is
right? Ugh. Yeah, it's a very vascular look. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I'm intrigued by the new dynamic with Crowley. Okay, so these are my hot takes. It's kind of a new dynamic with Crowley. I'm intrigued.
Is it?
A little bit. It's a bigger pivot, but he's like not fully like fuck you guys, but he's also like not we're besties. He's kind of like we're gonna be cool, but not kind of a thing. I don't know. I think it's like it's been a little bit transitional. And then I think Sam resolving the veiny thing is good. Seems like a very weird like intro. Like we're only on the second episode of the season, and we had like this. I don't know. It's a really weird storyline to me, but who am I to judge? And then I think except that's what I kind of do on this podcast. So I think
that's kind of what we're doing here.
And then
who am I to judge what Sam Winchester does?
I know. And then I think once again, Dean is doing the thing where he's not telling Sam everything, which is not fucking helpful. And then I'm kind of bummed about Jenna. I liked her.
Yeah, and Hannah.
And Hannah. That's a bummer on both.
Yep. So
that's why I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that you kind of quickly became attached to Jenna. And
I did. I don't know why.
They made her a likable woman, and then they fucking killed her because
she was tough but likable.
Yeah,
and she was tough but feminine and likable. I think that was it.
Yeah, the type of female characters we tend to enjoy, and that they tend to murder.
Yes.
Thanks, Supernatural.
And she's just like the actress, people. And I have to flip back because I feel terrible. She's just really striking, her appearance.
Diana's like, I'm just gonna look at this.
I'm gonna look at my notes and make
a bunch of noise.
Throw everything around.
I decided that I am also a cat.
Lacey Maley is just, she is a very striking woman, and I enjoyed having her on here.
Yeah, I think good coloring too. Yes. So, anyhow. All right.
I'll try not to throw anything else.
I think that's it. I think we veined enough. Oh. Yes. Hopefully, this is the end of the vein. I bet the makeup department was like, "Are we done? Are we done with the veins yet?"
Right? Were they intentionally like, "All right, these are gonna look like really bad tribal tattoos. Let's fucking go!" Like,
I would. If I was gonna I would embrace it. It would have to be like, you're gonna curl this up as much as possible, and we're just gonna black out your whole arm. Some people would think that joke is funny, but it's only some of us. So, all right. I think on that note, cheers, jerk.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Be a Dick production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.